Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glen Sutherland.
Welcome to a new episode of A Canadian Investing in the U.S. with Glen Sutherland. This week, my guest is Jason Law. Jason, you want to start off by letting everyone know who you are?
Hi, my name is Jason Law. I started investing in the States when I turned about 40 years old. I thought, well, you know what, there must be something better because my job wasn't paying enough, right? And I bought my first property. I was looking at the prices and I'm waking my wife up at 3 in the morning. I'm like, look at this house, look at this price, right? So yeah, we bought our first house for 32,000. And then we bought our next house for 39. It went from 39K to 100K in 8 months of value. And then we did, so now we're up to 5 long-term properties, and now we just started Airbnb.
Okay, there's a whole pile of stuff you just went through right there. Okay, so you bought, and have you done, like, were you doing investing in Canada before you were investing in the U.S., or you just jumped straight into the U.S.?
I wasn't investing in Canada. I started looking in Canada first. I seen a place in Chatham for 100,000 at the time. It needed new gutters, needed new roof, needed new floors. I'm like, well, this is adding up, right?
Yeah.
So I looked and I'm like, well, my wife's like, well, we shop in the States, right? So we started pricing the States and this is where we're at, right?
Yeah, awesome. So, like, do you live over by Chatham? Is that why you were looking at Chatham?
I just knew they had cheap houses. I do have a
Well,
friend that lives there too, so he would be a good person to send there fast, right? So
oh yeah, it's handy to have like a contact. Okay, so you
yes.
went to go buy in the U.S. I know I just heard that you said you bought a property for 39K and turned it into a 100K property. Did you have to do a renovation or what did that
No,
look
it was
like?
just a new and upcoming area. I was just lucky. Yeah. My property manager said buy in the west end of Erie, Pennsylvania, and next thing you know, wow.
Well, yeah, that so besides your realtor telling you, how did you is that the only clue you had that that was the place to go, or how did you?
No, I've been researching, right? So I'm in 3 different states, so I research all the time,
Yep.
and I make a team. And your team is very important. If you have a terrible team, you won't succeed very. It's not just a one person job, right? So
That makes sense. So with these properties, I already know a little bit about them, so I'm trying to ask questions and to like lead you on. But like, what are you doing? You're not doing long-term rentals on these. What kind of investing strategy are you using?
so the first five were all long term, or first four were all long term, and
Okay.
now the newest one is Airbnb. So my friend in Niagara Falls, New York, which is a big connection, has been bugging me for the last year to do Airbnb,
Yeah.
and he's been showing me the numbers. I'm like, well, let's try something new, right? So
Okay. And then so you're gonna do an Airbnb. Were you able to do it in the same sort of areas as you were doing the other long-term rentals, or did you need more of like a downtown area or a touristy area, or what were you looking for? That was there any differences anyway for looking at
so
an
yeah,
Airbnb?
I already have a team in Niagara Falls, New York.
Yep.
So it was just I had to do it, and the time came, and I did it, and it's 6 minutes to the falls. I bought it for 147 and change, and it came with all the furniture and stuff inside it, and it's been an Airbnb for the last 2 years. So it was a no-brainer really to take on something that's been successful in the past and now make it better because I've added some arcade machines too. So
Nice, nice. So you bought an existing Airbnb, so it was
yes.
already a business. So whenever you're buying something like that, did they provide like the financials or how that it's been running for like the last couple years, or how did that go to help you with that choice?
Yeah, so since the realtor is also my one really good friend,
Yeah.
he showed me all the numbers for the last year of different Airbnbs in the area, and he manages 20 Airbnbs himself. So
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
yes,
So then if he manages a whole bunch of them, is he doing the management for you as well?
yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah. 20% or what does he ask?
It is 20%. You're right. You nailed it.
Yeah, I had some Airbnbs myself, and I found that like if I managed one of them myself and I outsourced the other one, I kind of got the I don't know, I got used to what the more expensive property management fees are, but it is a lot of work. Like I did do try managing them myself, and it's very demanding at all times and all over the. Is that why you didn't want to do it?
I just don't have the time to go back and forth, and I do have my own business in Canada, so it would be too much, right? So I'd rather not wash my hands of it and just, he deals with it. And if something's out of the ordinary broken, then he tells me, of course, right? But other than that, it's pretty hands off, which is nice for a change.
If anybody was like, "Hey, this sounds interesting. I could just do an Airbnb like Niagara Falls, New York is like just across the border for,
Yeah.
people in Toronto or Hamilton or over in Waterloo even." What tips would you give somebody who is interested in doing so?
Basically making your team. So finding that good property manager
Yeah.
and a realtor that's honest that will tell you what the good areas are because there's pockets of good and pockets of bad. And you definitely don't want to be in a pocket of bad because no one will want to stay at your Airbnb, right?
Or they'll stay once and then they'll give you a terrible review or let
Yeah,
you
they'll be running, right?
Yeah. And so like when you're talking about like before you were talking about some more cheaper properties in the 40K sort of range, and this one's 147. So I'm guessing you did financing when you purchased. Are you looking to invest in the US? Are you looking for a coaching program that will actually save you money and help you avoid mistakes? My students get discounts on lawyers, attorneys. If you're looking to get an E2 visa, if you're looking for certain software, if you're looking to even speak with CPAs, I have discounts for all these things. If you want to just get on a quick phone call and we can discuss if it's a fit for you, 10-minute phone call, go to glensutherland.com or at canadianinvestingintheusa.com and book a call.
I did do financing, so I wish I could have bought it for the same price I bought my first unit there.
Yeah.
So my first unit was 32, and now the values are 140 now around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but financing, I went through a U.S. bank, a private lender. Yes.
Okay. Oh, so it's a private lender. So is it like a promissory note that's on it, or what do you mean by that?
It's just there's so many that will do the DSCR loan, which is
Okay, yeah.
basically as long, yeah. So as long as you make more than your expenses, then you're basically approved, right? So the thing I like the best about the States, there's not really a debt wall. Like Canada would say, you know what, you can't be loaned anymore. Even though you're making so much money, they eventually cut you off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was one of the things that helped push me into the U.S. as well. When you were doing the financing, did they care that it was going to be an Airbnb versus like a long-term rental, or did they run their numbers like it was a long-term rental, or what did that look like?
They didn't seem to care too much. I just had to show how much it would go for the rental rate. They kind of cared about that more per se, right? But the biggest challenge was finding a good lender. Some said they could do it and they couldn't, so I had to switch lenders in the middle, which wasn't fun, but I learned a lot of stuff, right? So always when you're trying something new, there's always new challenges, right? So now I know what to look out for if I do another unit, right? So for a loan in the US.
Yeah, and I think also what may have helped you, I'm not sure exactly with your situation, but because it was an Airbnb before, you kind of
Yes.
have like records and proof, so it's not like you have proof of concept that this is going to work, and these are kind of how much rent you're going to actually get compared to if you're going to buy a property that it had never been an Airbnb. It might be a little bit more question marks, and you're kind of relying on online data from like AirDNA or some of those other websites, right? In order to try to put it together. So, but do you think that helped? Like, did you have to provide all
I
that?
think it helped, and also having an ITIN number helped a lot too.
Okay, yeah, well, definitely, because then um, I think that it's actually a requirement now is to have an I-10 in order to be able to do those loans. I guess you could do a personal loan if you can get it from a Canadian bank, but for most of the American stuff, you're going to need something that fits in their boxes and registers in their system.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else that anyone else interested in investing in an Airbnb in the US should know?
Just do your research, right? And make sure it's the right area because, I've heard many stories of bad area and then you're not going to get your rents you want, right?
Yeah.
And just make sure you do all the stuff needed. You got to get your license. You don't want to get fined, right? So basically, the process is you got to get your licensing for the Airbnb. You have to get an architect to show that it's safe. He has to do a drawing as well. You have to hand out 200 notices, or you have to hand out notices to people within a 200 feet radius. So letting them know there's going to be Airbnb.
Yeah.
So and then you got to do your rental registration too, as well, right? So
So then, and when you hand out those notices, then I guess those people have the uh, opportunity to try to appeal it if they don't want it.
Yes, yes.
But was that if it was already an Airbnb, then would it would
It's
probably
because it's new ownership, they make you do it again. It's almost like a money grab, I think, right? So,
was it expensive?
it costs around $1,500 if you have to do everything.
Okay.
But since they allowed me to do my use the architect design from the first one, like from the first owner,
Yeah.
it was a lot cheaper. And I do have some good connections, so he also saved me on the inspection kind of happening, kind of not, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense having the good contacts.
I'll
So
tell you. I'll tell you a story about not having connections. So when I bought my first house in the U.S., I had no connections. I had an inspection done because I was doing Section 8, right? And they came in, they found like 15 items wrong, but I made this house like 1,000 times better. So I'm like, what? How did I fail, right? And he didn't fail. So then the second time I had the inspection, I had my contractor go there, local contractor. They're like, oh, how are you doing? And then all of a sudden I passed first try, right? So
oh, so like he just went and walked through with the inspector.
walked through with them, right?
Yeah.
And then it was passed. You only checked one outlet before the guy was checking them all, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's who you know sometimes. So having those local connections can go far away, right? And then after that, they didn't really bug me too much afterwards. It was just that first time that they really like to get you in New York for some reason, right?
And oh, the other thing is too, like is having the contractor there, he might be able to just be like, oh yeah, I'll get that fixed right afterwards, and so just pass it, I'll get it done. You know, it's something little. Like I remember when my Section 8, there was a door that didn't fully click in. Like when you clicked in,
Yeah,
it would wiggle and unclick, and you're like, it was just sometimes just a little tiny thing that would take the contractor another 5 minutes after the inspector left, and they could just be like, yeah, I'm gonna fix that right now. Whereas if they're there by are you looking to buy property in the United States, but not interested to travel there just to sign the notary? Did you know there are 6 different ways to sign notary as a Canadian, and only 2 of them involve going to the United States? To get my free guide on notary, go to acanadianinvestingintheusa.com/notary.
well, yeah, the one thing was that my tenant was short and she had the railing was low. And they said it has to be higher. And she was mad because she says, I'm short. Why do I want to high up? So she was not happy about that, but it had to be changed, right? So,
Oh yeah, you got to do if you want to go into their programs, you got to do what they ask for.
yes, exactly.
So what's the future? Like what's the next one? Are you going to do more of the long-term ones that you've been doing before? Are you more interested in continuing with the Airbnb model?
I'm going to do more Airbnb. So I also have that first house I was telling you about for 32,000. It's down the road from that one, and it is in the Airbnb zone. So if the tenants leave, then that's becoming an Airbnb. It's a no brainer.
So what if just to try to get some comparisons, what would be the difference in rent or the amount in a I guess because there's a lot more expenses in doing it as an Airbnb, but like profit wise approximately how much better would it be to do it as an Airbnb versus a long-term rental?
Yeah. So my long term rental, which is 2 blocks away, it rents for 1150 USD, and then the Airbnb last month did 4K.
Wow. So you
Yes.
4K, but then you're gonna actually you'll have electricity, water, all that stuff is
Well,
gonna
that
come
was
out.
after expenses, though.
Okay. Oh, after expenses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then yeah, and then besides that, it should be basically besides the expenses, it should be basically the same kind of.
So yeah, so your off season you make less, but you usually make your rent. So the off season being the colder periods because people don't want to go to the falls when it's colder, right? Or too cold at least.
That makes
But
sense. And do you find like just because you're in Niagara Falls, I've heard a lot of things about like Military Lane having some not as many Canadians over there right now. Did that affect the Airbnb business that you've been running?
yeah, so my guy said the numbers did go down a little bit, and it went down from the numbers I seen last year. But it's only a matter of time, right? Like everyone returns eventually. It's just like a real estate house. Like you buy a house cheap, goes up, it might go down a little bit, but it never goes down to the point that what below what you bought it usually, right? So everything usually returns in, you know,
Yeah, it's all market cycles too, right? There's market cycles,
yes.
and then there's just um, just the current political boycott that's happening for some people.
Yes.
So Jason, people like they're like, hey, this sounds amazing. I'd love to learn more. If they wanted to reach out to you, if they wanted to talk to you, how, is that something you want to share, or how would they do so?
Yes, they could just call me up or email my website. I'd be glad to talk to people.
Sure. Do you want to give them your website?
Yes. JJ Investments Property Management .com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jason, thank you so much for the interview and the interest. The can't talk. I'll cut that out. But thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I love you sharing your knowledge on the Airbnb and the future of doing Airbnbs in Niagara Falls, New York. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That was a nice video. Bye.